John Wooden, a week into practice for the new season with his UCLA basketball team in Los Angeles, was not made for such times. His life had been built on structure, discipline, and humility. In an idealistic world where a person's word equaled a signed contract, where politicians were to be trusted, where money was not motivation, and where the good book mattered a few trillion times more than the playbook. Outlandish for Wooden was allowing players to dunk in practice years later, once. He spent decades feeling bad about a 100-78 victory against Washington State in 1966-67, which came with sophomore center Lou Alcindor on the court until the end, when the game was well in hand, and Alcindor piling on with 61 points. Poor sportsmanship on Wooden's part that he never forgot. He would sell the Mercedes-Benz given as a retirement gift in 1975 in favor of a Ford Taurus. Wooden was beginning his 20th season in L.A. as protesters gathered on the Mall, but then and forever remained the Indiana farm boy who got an English degree from Purdue, recited poetry, and coached high school basketball in small-town Indiana and Kentucky, and then at the university that would become known as Indiana State. He first shot hoops on a tomato basket, with the bottom knocked out, and nailed to a hayloft in the barn, near the white farmhouse with his parents in one bedroom and the four brothers in the other, two to a bed. Wooden met Nellie Riley as a high school freshman, took her to the ice cream parlor for Malteds, to the movie theater to watch Charlie Chaplin and Tom Mix, and held hands while sitting on the swing on the Rileys' porch. In his senior year, they agreed to see the preacher once John finished college, and they got married in 1932 when he was 22 and Nell was 21. Ever since arriving in 1948, they both found Los Angeles too fast, too filled with cement, and with too many fake smiles, not like true friendships back home. So imagine John Wooden strapped in as the 1960s and 70s spun furiously out of control. Worse, some of his own players were at the forefront of this new parallel universe. That coach, that program, and those times. Wooden's Bruins won 10 national championships in his final 12 seasons, but the 7 in a row, against the backdrop of a flammable America, made it a dynasty unlike anything before or since. The Boston Celtics owned professional basketball mostly at the same time, with 9 championships in the 1960s, but with largely the same core of players. UCLA conquered continuously, despite 3 roster incarnations in their 7-year run alone, plus another group in the first 2 crowns and yet another in the last. What were obviously overpowering teams in the moment, from the arrival of Lou Alcindor through the departure of Bill Walton, superstar center to superstar center, can be viewed with the perspective of time as even more impressive, considering they were living inside a hurricane. The simple explanation is that the Bruins won all the time because of superior talent and coaching from Wooden and his assistants. But really, they overcame. The disorder was not behind the scenes either. Their tension was visible. Alcindor and his stand for black pride that led to his controversial move to skip the 1968 Olympics, Walton and anti-war protests, one leading to his arrest, Wooden driven to heart problems and ultimately retirement by the pressure to keep the machine running. Alcindor was an African-American from New York who hated whites and had a disdain for plastic Los Angeles. Walton, a San Diego hippie who thrilled in a good rebellion. Wooden, the square from Indiana farm country. How fate did so drop them in the middle of everything. Vietnam, the Robert Kennedy assassination, the Martin Luther King murder, the Kent State killings, death everywhere, campus riots, Richard Nixon, the Summer of Love, the 1968 of the bloody Democratic Convention and Black Power protests, and the Mexico City Olympics. Ping-pong diplomacy, Governor Ronald Reagan.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.